And I remember at that time, and Grant said, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I make famous people more famous. And then he laughed. He said, oh, actually, I like that. And I'm trying to align you with the right strategic partners, luxury brands to take things to another level. In this world, unfortunately, bad news or, controversial things sail much further than the good news. And
Always.
I always try to model ourselves as the good news network and spread positivity. At the end of the day, luxury is all about exemption. The more you can't get it, the more you want it.
Welcome to the Elena Cardone Show. Today I have Kamal Hachandani, who is the CEO of Haute Media Group, Talent Living, Hot Living. What do you go by?
I go CEO of Haute Media Group.
And this is a group that specializes in luxury brands. You do events, you do branding, you meet, and you've been seen with Jay-Z to Alicia Keys to, name the top celebrities of the world. And so I wanted to have you on the show for a couple different reasons. I want to pick your brain. I'm very greedy that way. I like to have my guest on the show so I can actually learn and be inspired and hear how you get. I know I have a very big woman audience, so I know my ladies out there want to know. We'll get the first things out of the way for my ladies. Are you single or married?
I am in a committed relationship.
And you're very successful. Okay, so we'll just tap on that and then we'll dive into the nitty gritty. But so how did you come about to have this super successful?
So our media platform was inspired by meeting great entrepreneurs. Initially, when we started, it was the Richard Bransons. I would see some of these people that would really create something out of nothing, and that's what inspired me with entrepreneurship. And as things progressed, social media came up, and we did a story on Tyra Banks, and I saw that how social media, one tweet to 12 million people, shifted our traffic and our business. So I was always looking for identifying greatness, and looking what you and Grant built as entrepreneurs was kind of parts of what our pillars were, looking at people that could really create something out of nothing and inspire other people to do that. And as we segued into the celebrity world, so the filter and amplification that social media added made it a no-brainer to start working with the DJ Khaled's, because you would do one event of that and he'd push it out to 40 million people. So a decade of that consistently kept on compounding and led us to getting attentions from the biggest brands in the world, and with our acumen start connecting the dots of creating partnerships for LVMH and the biggest luxury brands, mixing pop culture and celebrity together.
So, and you've been so successful at that. So how do you, okay, first of all, at one of your events, have you ever had an incident happen where you were afraid, okay, now for sure my reputation is going down in a flaming wreck?
Not necessarily ours, but some of the people's at the event's reputation were going down. At the event, I saw a very high-profile married couple where the wife engaged in some different type of behavior with one of the celebrities there, and it
you mean cheated?
Yes, you could say that. And
you mean like?
I can't name any names,
no.
We were in a situation like that where People magazine somehow found where my house was, were knocking on the door and trying to reach out with questions, because in this world, unfortunately, bad news or controversial things sail much further than the good news. And
always.
I always try to model ourselves as the good news network and spread positivity, and try to influence more great thoughts than what and that's the reason why TMZ is much bigger in audience, but we try to curate a different type of experience and sort of energy in what we put out there.
Does a TMZ person ever reach out to you and say, hey, let's collab, give me something?
We do, but we try to do it more on the positive level. So we'll do some special wine tastings with LeBron James and the team and preseason, and keep it positive like that. But they often try to exchange information, which is something I wouldn't partake in, with saying, hey, if you could let us know what this celebrity you're friends with are up to, and we're not going to name you, but in return, we'll give you coverage, which is kind of a dirty part of the business that we stay away from because, as I said, we're all about the positivity and not people's divorces and so forth. So.
Exactly. And do you think that's why you're able to cultivate these relationships? People trust you?
And I think on the brand partnership side, people don't want liabilities. They don't want to align themselves with people that are going to be sort of a train wreck or potential liability. So us identifying and aligning with the right mindsets, I think helped us on the business development side, as well as the trust of our partners, audience, relationships that we built with our.
Would you say that you've had to turn down certain celebrities because they were a liability?
100%. A lot more than often. And
how do you do that? Like, do you make up some other excuse?
I find honesty is the best because many times we'll work, for example, with a high-end spirits brand or even a Dom Perignon or something like that, and you'd work with some talent and realize that they had a substance abuse problem in the past. So this is definitely not a good alignment for a partnership like that. Or if someone's had, issues of beating up people, which, you don't want to have someone that's a liability for the brand. And especially when the brand is entrusting us sometimes with a 200-year-old heritage of a maison and, we're bringing the right types of alignment and social media being the gift and the curse of where you could amplify the message of the brand. But if you make a mistake, that travels 10 times bigger. So definitely aligning with the right people and rejecting a lot more than we actually accept is the reality of the business.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so for these celebrities, how do you meet them? How do you gain their trust?
So initially it was sort of knocking on doors, meeting them, building the relationship. And as we grew our platform and the trust of our platform, we're now in the position where Netflix will say, hey, we're coming out with a documentary on Quincy Jones. We'll give you X amount of time with Quincy. We'll do an activation with Quincy. We'll push all our joint work together on our mutual social channels, Amazon Studios, CAA, and the bigger groups now.
They know you.
So now they actually are sending us stuff because of the value proposition, which I always try to do different from other media companies is as a celebrity or a high net worth person, if you're dedicating your time to us at an event or that, I'm trying to align you with the right strategic partners, luxury brands to take things to another level. And Tyreek Hill's an example of this, star Dolphin player, comes to town. We do the Welcome to Miami party. We host him. I bring some LVMH brands around him. He ends up doing a watch deal. He gets
are you kind of like a broker person in that, or is that agent manager you?
In some of the transactions, we actually signed the talent like a street artist like Alec Monopoly. So we signed him. Said, hey, let me go to LVMH and partner up and do your watch deal. And then from our agency side for LVMH, we'll launch the watch.
So are you an agent?
We were complementary to the agent, but there's an element of our business. We have an agency. So technically, if they're signed to WME or a CAA, we would broker a piece for ourselves. And then our agency will launch the actual watch. So we'd launch the Alec Monopoly watch where he scaled down the fountain blue, painted a 110-foot mural.
Whoa.
And so we would create some sort of important moment around the launch for them. So sometimes we work on both sides of the deal.
So are you always on your phone?
I would say I'm pretty accessible. I try to take some time where I'm not fully on there, but I'm pretty attached to it.
So now you said you're in a committed relationship. When you're on the phone, do you get, hey, pay attention to me from the girlfriend or the...
Not as much. She's in the social media business.
So she understands.
So she understands that.
That's good.
Monitoring numerous business and social media platforms, being on the phone for a lot of people could be distracting, and for us it's work. So
So getting back to that first question, so what is one of the first incidents that happened at an event where you were like, oh God, that was with the gal that was with the other person? That the worst, or were there more?
That to me, because I was very close to the husband, so it made it even more uncomfortable for me.
So did everyone know, or just you know?
Everyone saw, and then it spread very quickly in the news. Rap songs were made about it. It just became bigger and bigger.
Oh God. You do some Googling. I need to know now. Okay.
So,
And so were you afraid that your events were going to get attached to that sort of
yeah, it kind of some way made it like, oh, wow, this actually happened. And it was some of the biggest stars in the world and that. So there were some elements. For me, it was more of a personal thing, that having a relationship with the husband and that, and seeing how it unfolded and how people
But he didn't
manipulated.
hold you responsible.
No, but it happened under our
Your watch.
roof, our situation. So it made it a little bit uncomfortable with that.
Are y'all still friends?
Yes. Not as close friends, because their whole situation exploded and it became to a worse and worse situation. But it was an unfortunate thing. And then on the flip side, on the events, a lot of great things actually happened. Like even at the Haute 100, where we were lucky to have you guys, the connectivity of certain people that were there saying, hey, I just invested $300 million in this guy's satellite company. We went public. We built a unicorn. Thank you, because we connected deeper at your event.
Do you ever feel like, dang, I should have a piece of that?
I was like, I wish like that NFTs, you could get the transactions, but a lot of it is just putting out good stuff in the universe, and good things happen back to you in return.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been people that over time said, hey, thank you for helping me connect the dots. We're bringing you a part of this transaction. So that's been, blessings overall. So
is there anyone that doesn't take you seriously at this point, that you're like, dang, I've been trying to get these people?
We reach out to people for years. Sometimes it's like 5-6 years, and then they like Robert De Niro. I'm finally doing where he's actually going to come to the dinner and attend, and we're going to kick off something before his film festival in Tribeca. So I don't think anyone says no forever. Some of them saying no at the time, and then it's a timing issue where this is important, his Tribeca Film Festival. So it's really an alignment of time. And I think by targeting the relentless pursuit of excellence and the positivity of it and showcasing that to them, it's just aligning with their schedule of when they want to tell their story of something.
And so you've been tracking him for a little while?
I've just personally loved De Niro growing up. And so we actually shot content with him once in Qatar, but he wouldn't do the event. And we had to fly to Qatar at the largest Nobu that opened in the Four Seasons.
Was this recently?
No, this was pre-pandemic. And then he's come around where now we're going to, shoot.
Mm-hmm.
We're shooting him.
Grant did a scene with him in a movie.
I think I saw that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah,
that is amazing.
That's like a historic.
I'm like, I was an actress my whole life until I never got in a scene with De Niro. How does he, in his first film ever, act on camera with De Niro?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I know.
Inspiring.
So who would be the top 3 celebrities you'd want to meet or have a dinner with?
I was fortunate to meet King Pele and go to the World Cup with him, which was unbelievable.
Why?
Just because I saw the reaction, and being in Brazil for my first World Cup final, and serendipitously I landed in the suite with him. We had shot the cover. We went, the Chancellor of Germany, David Beckham, Rihanna. But when King Pele walked in, the way the stadium and the world erupted, I never had goosebumps like that in my life. And growing up and watching Pele was an unbelievable thing. I had the good fortune of working with the late, great Kobe Bryant, where he did an LVMH watch deal with Hublot, and he wanted to be known as Vino, getting better with age. So he did a wine blending in Napa at the Harlan Estate, some of the best wines in the world at their private reserve. And we launched his watch, so I was able to sit and fortunately meet some of the great minds I admired. And then the living person that I was very impressed by her energy and the time spent with her was Alicia Keys. She's one of those people that I feel are just like elevated her consciousness. And the more time I got spend time with her and her husband, Swiss Beats, they moved in a different way, in a very special way, in a low-key but impactful way. So the greatest part of my business has been able to sort of all my childhood dreams or bucket list people to have a conversation with, and in certain instances develop a friendship and even a family ship, where you end up traveling together and getting to know each other over this decade plus, that we're doing it.
So have you ever felt starstruck?
It was cool when I did the first night Poppy Steak ever opened. We did a buyout, and I was doing a dinner for French Montana. And then they told me, hey, do you mind giving up these 4 seats? They said, oh, Champagne Poppy's coming in. And I'm
And
thinking,
that's
Poppy
the owner of
Steak?
Poppy Steak.
No,
Yeah.
actually, that's Drake. And I was thinking Poppy Steak, but Drake's Instagram Champagne Poppy. And so he came in kind of towering, and then he tapped me. I said, I don't know, he could take our seats. And it actually made the Poppy Steak go even more viral than what, Poppy and Grutman already, super marketing machine, because Champagne Poppy showed up the first
And that's
night.
Drake.
Yeah.
The Drake.
Yeah, that's Drake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was.
And you were a little starstruck?
I was just shocked, not expecting him to come and get. I was happy to give up those 4 seats I have for him, and but I've been a little. Starstruck for me is really De Niro. I saw him and Francis Coppola after Art Basel. I admire their body of work that transcends generations.
So have you spoken to De Niro yet?
Our teams have been speaking. I haven't had the conversation yet.
And do you have anything planned? Do you have your opening sentence prepared?
For me, our editor in chief is going to take that, because she's been tracking and doing stories with him for 6 to 8 years, and she shot the prior cover. My part's going to be sitting with him and hosting him and the right people around him at the sort of the experiential part and at the dinner, and kind of be able to pick his brain or get inspired by what he's saying and presenting. And also, I love Chef Nobu, so we're going to be collaborating with him for the food and wine part at his venue in New York. So,
oh yeah, that's going to be great.
Yeah, that'll be magical.
Oh my God. Okay, here's something. So, you know how there is, like, everybody's all big on the cancel culture right now, and there's a lot of different political viewpoints. Do some people get upset with you if you host a party for somebody that's outspoken about blank, when the other when other groups are, how could you do something for them? They're blah, blah, blah. And how do you navigate those waters?
It's actually, in our world, it's hypersensitive, more than probably I think anyone, because the media, and then people talk about the woke media and this media and that type of stuff. And I always try to stay away from all of it. But
are you worried? Like, let's say
100%. But with that being said, I know that my first cover of a human that I ever shot in Florida was Donald Trump. And the first cover I shot in New York was Donald Trump. And I shot one of Ivanka Trump and one of Melania Trump. And this was all president. Yeah, so
I was way before that.
Way before that. This is from 2007, 2012. And I actually have videos. Hey, it's our November issue. And we shot Melania at her house, jumping in the fountain, more of a fashion driven. And I remember reposting that after the election, and people freaked out, advertisers. So, I realized, well, they just started reaching out, and like, they're saying, you got it, and this was content I shot in 2012 of a fashion shoot of the first, of former first lady.
Yeah.
But I just saw that people like really just got polarized, then, especially in our industry. And when I met the president, he was before president, he was just like Captain America. I went to his office, I went to his place. He said, you're going to get the shoot done in this time. I've done this before. We did the family shoot. So I got to spend a good amount of time, with the president. And, but I do know that in our industry, it's a very sensitive situation. And politics.
So what did you do after that? You said, I'm not doing this ever again?
Well, I don't think I would even have access to shoot him on another cover at
No, but
time.
I mean, even repost the old shoot.
No, some of my teammates this week went and posted it. They said, we don't care. And, some of my teammates said, we didn't realize we had these videos. We didn't realize we have all this content.
And they posted them.
And they start posting, and they're posting on their personal accounts. I haven't, as it gets closer to the election, we'll see. But I haven't really pushed any of that, because you can't really mix the luxury brands. Like when I was shooting him as a private person, or Ivanka wearing her jewelry line she had at the time, and it was opening of the Trump Soho. So they were actually also large marketing partners of ours just from the early projects in Miami and to everything else. So we were helping him sell. So it was really a partnership more than anything. And I admired what they did as a family, and chose to even highlight individual family members throughout. And we shot the family together, and actually it was 2007. And Ivanka actually called and said, "You have to cut out Eric." And I said, "How are we going to Photoshop him?"
Why?
And I was shocked myself, but he had just graduated college within 2 months of the time. And they said, "You know what? We want him to actually work up to this, and opportunities like this." It's been literally under 2 months.
Oh, Ivanka is older than Eric?
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, Baron, I guess, is the youngest. So so we basically had to chop out his arm and get him out of the photo. But
No way.
yeah, that was a decade plus ago. But I always remember that one. And I saw her at the lunch, but I never obviously brought it up ever again, because when we were sitting when I saw you at the Milken conference, we were sitting at the table right over.
Right.
But we did like cover launch dinners with her and featured her jewelry line, and just always thought she was an amazing representation of our country. So
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
So did you always think that you would get this far? Was this always the vision?
I mean, I feel like I'm still on the journey. For me, what I wanted to do was aggregate great relationships and minds and connect the dots with them, and see how to take my life to a different level. And my friend that we actually met through J.R. Ridinger, he actually told me, he goes, "You know what you are?" He goes, "You're Slumdog Billionaire." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You watched the movie Slumdog Millionaire, but you went and aggregated relationships with all these billionaires, and now you're friends with them, and now you're looking at connecting the dots, in business with them." So I would always laugh, and he'd be like, "Oh, Slumdog, what are you doing today?" And so he always referenced what I was doing as a billionaire version of that movie. And I've been fortunate to meet a lot of great, kind, inspiring minds. And that's why I'm thankful for this opportunity, because I look at what you guys do as entrepreneurs, families, philanthropists, and the fact that you have the conviction and strength enough to say what you guys really want, and really follow through it. It's an inspirational thing that I look to even try to take even deeper with my business, knowing the potential pitfalls and that. But then I also realize that I have other people in our ecosystem depending on, sort of how everything is set up with the business. And the political stance hasn't really been a part of our platform outside of admiration for the people I shot in their private sector type lives. But I love what you guys do and inspire other people to do. So
I love
thank you
that.
for this opportunity.
Oh, is your business difficult?
I feel like any business, you have to navigate the landscape. And other things that I learned through you guys in the pandemic was I would typically get hired and go to the Zaha Hadid building, 57 Ocean, all the related projects, and we would be the marketing, throw the launch party, do that. And I had a great discovery in the pandemic when a chairman of a big bank called me and said, "Look, I've been looking for 2 years. You know everything." I call a developer. He walks in, buys a big penthouse, leads me to another guy. Oh, he has 50 million. This guy has 40 million. So I built a boutique brokerage, and all the buildings we marketed, 57 Ocean, I would bring Troy Aikman to do a Super Bowl dinner, Greg Norman in their sales center. Then I went and I sold a penthouse for 44 mil through our brokerage. And I did the same thing at the Zaha Hadid building and then the One Park Grove. So everywhere we were working, I pivoted in that area to do that. And then similar to, I ran into you on an Airbus corporate jet with DJ Khaled, ironically, and he was taking a bus from Miami to LA every month because he was scared to get on a plane for 13 years. So I did the first flight with him. I said, "Hey, we'll do Miami, Orlando." He goes, "No, I'll take the bus to New York and we go to LA." So I got a Global 5000. He early in the morning said, "I have a fever." I said, "Bro, it's a one-way. We paid it. You're going." He showed up to the flight. We had a meeting with the pilot. He hugged his son and he went through the first journey. And I helped him set up doing that. Then 2021, he called me again. He said, "Look, now I have to fly over water." And I said, "Look, you're flying over, it's the same thing." So I got that Airbus that we were actually on and had him go to Saudi Arabia.
Beautiful.
And with that, I ended up building our own private aviation brokerage. So now we're servicing him, a lot of other the big names for on-demand
But are you
charter.
partnered with Airbus now?
Well, they're a client of ours, and we charter their planes, and we mainly heavy jets. But instead of just being a marketing advertising partner, same with the real estate, we took matters in our own hand, built a boutique brokerage within just to be in compliance, be able to take a part of the transactions. And then same thing with the private aviation to service sort of the community.
So you're
that we built.
constantly expanding.
Yeah. So while it's been challenging, it's been rewarding by
What's the biggest challenge?
getting the right people. Because even in like the private aviation, it's a crazy business. Like at least real estate, you have to get fingerprinted. You have to have some diligence. This one, people, you come out of jail and you become a jet broker.
Wow.
Like half of the people, like literally, that you would be so surprised that they come and say, hey, I'm the CEO of this company. Oh yes, I was 7 years away. I was like, there's zero, background checks, and you're actually
Have you ever been conned or frauded?
not frauded, but I meet a lot of the people. And one of the biggest guys in the industry, his calling card too is like, I went to jail, but I cleaned up my act and I came out. And the guy built a real, I think he sold 6 for 60 or 70. He built a real business. But the majority of those guys were like pump and dump stock guys. They did their time, and they came back into this industry. So I just see for even some of our celebrity clients how they get marked up, raped, like how they're just being
You see that?
No,
Do
I
you
see
say
it's great.
anything to
No,
them?
I do, and
You do? You say
100%,
something?
because even when they're pricing it out, and a lot of times they'll call me secondary. Oh, we did this with this, and then they said, oh wow, they're actually marking up 40% on you, and I said that's crazy. And industry is supposed to be 10 to 12, and so I see
What,
that.
you mean like watches?
The jets
anything, the
specifically,
jets, the this,
yeah.
that?
So like
Wow.
I was specifically the private. The numbers in the pandemic went off the charts. People were just getting abused with it. The industry, there's no regulation. So I just wanted to build a boutique, cleaner, smarter version, tie in experiential events with what we do. So evolve into instead of relying on advertising, becoming our own advertisers and trusting our platform to deliver us results is kind of how.
So how important is the team to you?
It's so important that I'm actually spending too much time even in human resources trying to really fine tune to not make the mistakes on certain key things that I've been subbing out. So I find my spare time, I am trying to identify great talent out there. Luckily in Miami, there's been some migration of brain power in this whole situation. Before it was all nightlife and hospitality, and
Right.
now you have a real migration. And with this, no one wants to really go back to the offices like before. So it's
You're experiencing that?
yeah. And it's funny what I'm realizing now. A lot of the realtors that don't have to be in the office, they're there to learn, there to do that. And some of the people that should be there are requesting to be hybrid because they got spoiled in the pandemic. But the revenue generators,
But you want them there, right?
I was there today. Yeah, no, 100%. So we're all in that mindset of even rebuilding, rehiring if people are coming in with, not getting spoiled in that 3 years of getting the PPP money or whatever money. They were all at home doing that. So,
Right.
they're shifting that mindset.
Do you have a mentor? Or how important is it?
I agree. I think mentorship is big. J.R. Riding was a mentor to me for sure. I was able to spend great time with
What
him.
did he teach you?
He taught me the value of relationships. He really, showcased to me how to leverage people with other strengths and put them to work and to do that. So I feel like, and I just liked learning when it was fun, and mixing humor, mixing good times, good experiences. Fortunate to be on a yacht in the Mediterranean with a laptop and, with him working. It's like, those are like, you can't even dream of these types of things would happen that you're in Saint-Tropez.
Did you do events for him?
I did. He attended a lot of our events, and then at his home, we would joint venture with some of the LVMH. We did stuff with Ferrari.
Wow.
And then, they obviously had a great sphere of influence in the celebrity world. And so there was a lot of crossover from that. But yeah, we did a lot of events.
So what's the biggest lesson that you've learned in your career?
From a work perspective, just leading with gratitude. I feel that just going out there with the right mindset. I saw something that Shark Tank Damon posted on his birthday, that he thinks of a gentleman or a friend of his that's paralyzed from the neck down when he wakes up in the morning and has sort of a tough day, or, thinking about that, and then just thinking how fortunate we actually are
Yep.
to be able to live even a percent of the life that we do. So I try to, even with our team and anyone in my personal life or that, try to lead from a position of gratitude, I would say is kind of a great takeaway I've had.
Do you ever get like short-tempered sometime and then kind of feel bad, or are you pretty?
I've been pretty even keel. I mean, it happens, you
How
get
do you Yeah.
you get
happens.
flustered,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but nothing where I'm problematic in that sense.
Yeah.
My vibe's more chilled out,
Me
so I try not to get bothered. And I saw Clint Eastwood, he's 91 years old and he looks great.
Love him.
And I saw a meme and he said, "Never let the old man in." And I said, wow, that's a great concept, because if you sit there and you're stressed about this or you get upset about that, and I'm like, look, you're not, I'm so fortunate to be able to be, with great people, eating well, drinking well, learning as you go. So yeah.
Are you a good problem solver, or do things just not go wrong in your life? Like,
No, I definitely,
I'm
things go
always
wrong.
having things.
No, things go wrong. Things go wrong.
Like, don't show up, or not the way you wanted it. It's not set up. This isn't perfect. That doesn't stress you out.
What happens, I kind of managed, I've learned enough of going through the ruts of it to manage my downside and how I react to it, and really aligning myself with the right people and double checking things, because when you work for LVMH and now the Arnault family, sometimes we work for the family directly and everything changes. So if you're at a typical event, they'll have a waiter for one for every 10 people. LVMH, it becomes one for every 6. A family member's in town, one for every 4. So, the level of execution when you have the number one most powerful, influential family in our world, and potentially, it's a $200 billion plus net worth of just this gentleman. So working under the guise of that, and I had the good fortune of running into you guys at the Bentley and Rolls-Royce event we did with Romero Brito, working with brands like that and understanding the brand guidelines of what a Rolls-Royce will teach you, and what you learn. And I remember that time, and Grant said, "Well, what do you do?" And I said, "Well, I make famous people more famous." And then he laughed. He said, "Oh, actually, I like that." And I said, "Oh, yeah, we have a media platform and we identify greatness, and then we try to highlight it into our audience. And then instead of being like a USA Today or that, we'll do it more by tying in a, Balenciaga or tying in a Louis XIII to make it a great experience for that audience, so more of a boutique niche product of that."
Man, I love that. It's fascinating. Are you fascinated? Or you're like, this is my life? I'm like, this is awesome. So
it's a manifestation of my American dream, being able to meet the people that I've met. I remember coming here and not being able to get into a Heat game.
No.
Yeah, like just as a kid, not being like, oh, one day I'll be able to go there and do that and stand outside the stadium and then see that. And then, to be like, doing wine dinners with NBA players and becoming friends, and then understanding how we could create value for each other has been cool, because we did a lot of the watch partnerships for the NBA guys, and we do a series of wine dinners with them. So,
and how do you know everybody and keep track of all the names? I'm so bad with that.
I feel like an element, if you create value for that person. So if it's an athlete and we did the dinner and we did the coverage, but then it also led to their watch deal, then it led to the brand supports their charity, and then it continues and continues. And then the memories contained on social media, because once that person follows you, you're always, kind of connected to them. And sometimes when we look at certain celebrities, I tell my team, see who from our branding network is following this person, a Rob Lowe or this person. And then that if that person has 200 people that they're following every day, and this is one of them, that person captures 2.5% of their time. So what's going on in that person's lives. You get caught up. So a lot of my brands or celebs say, you go nonstop or you do that, because we're showcasing our work and what we do. So I think that's kind of the overarching glue that keeps somewhat of the consistency after creating a value proposition or some sort of, positive connection on each side.
Wow, man. And so when you show up a party, you just know who everybody is?
An element of it's technology. We have an app that has everyone's face, and as they check in, we get notified of who's there. So, and I know
everybody there.
Yeah, so I could see on my phone. that, okay, so-and-so checked in and we have 80 of the 100 guests here. It's time to
And do
sit.
you do your research beforehand to know key
I
elements?
beyond do the research.
You beyond do the research.
Yeah.
I have to hear.
Yeah, so
What
like
do you
even, like there's a business organization called the YPO that's the largest CEO network, and they have WhatsApp chats, and I'll put certain events that say, okay, hey, and I know they have to have a certain show an audited net worth of a certain amount, and it's a CEO group, but I'll get X amount of responses saying, we'd love to attend this dinner for your Ted Lasso Emmy dinner. Then I can see, oh, this guy just sold his company for $600 million with Ryan Reynolds, Mint Mobile. This one, so I have all that, and I said, well, this will curate an even more interesting experience because I want to learn about AI from the head of Meta's AI guy, and he wants to come to this. So some of it I personally curate for myself to have like a real magical alignment at that, and then I also try to think for the people attending what their personality match with this or something bigger. And I do that a lot of time. People want to be in their comfort zone, saying, I know this person and that, and then sometimes you want to.
Yeah, because when I show up and I see you, I'm like, oh, thank God, I know somebody.
No, I feel like you know a lot of people. A lot of people know you. That's for sure.
Well, I don't feel that way. When I'm with Grant, everyone's like, Grant.
I don't know
Grant,
about
Grant.
that.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think people know who I am too?
I think equally, because I even posted
equally. No,
the feedback.
freaking way.
I'm telling you because I even had posted something when I saw you on the Airbus, and the feedback I got about how many people said that you have influenced you, they look up to you, you change their lives. It was unbelievable, and they're like, "Oh, we're getting mentored," or like it was really an amazing feeling. I said, "Wow, talk about a movement," you know.
Yeah.
And I went and I was just like, people I wouldn't even think about. They were just like, "Wow, this. How did you meet her? How did you?" And I was like, "No, I was serendipitous. I was going on this jet. We were there, and there's like, oh wow." They thought it was like we're doing something because you had cameras and you had stuff. So I just see the feedback that you know do for so many. It's very inspiring, and the feedback's just been unmatched. So
oh wow, man, thank you.
yeah,
Well, I
thank you.
can't wait. I want to like collaborate.
No, I'm excited.
Okay, so we'll end, and now we'll go into my office and collaborate
Let's
and
get it going.
create greatness.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I hope I don't get rejected. I hope
No
I'm not
chance.
one of the rejects. Oh
It's a true
boy.
honor.
Well, thank you so
thank you
much
so much.
for
This was a
being on.
blast.
This was awesome, man.
was
I'm
great.
fascinated. Man, marketing is like, how important is marketing to your business? It's
It's
the
the
last.
key. I mean, at the end of the day, perception is reality too. So even with these brands, the Patek Philippe's of the world, the Hermes, the Birkin bag is a great example, right? At the end of the day, luxury is all about exemption. The more you can get it, the more you want it. And to me, the fact that everything in the world could be upside down, or that Hermes had its record a year, like it broke every record.
In 2020?
Yeah, and
Wow.
Hermes as one brand now is worth 50% of LVMH's 70 brands. So it's crazy what's just happened in the past year. And you think about it, like there's that much demand for $30,000 handbags, and that comes down to marketing. Like end of the day, like there's other products, and I'm a huge Hermes fan, and I love everything that they do.
You know what's crazy? Like, I love their purses, of course. I have one or two, but I love their clothes. I think like
I love their sneakers.
So you're in their I love their stuff. It's so weird. I love the apparel.
Yeah, I have a great relationship with them, and I feel that that brand really epitomizes great luxury, but the marketing, the fact that the demand is that high that you have to wait a year or 2 years, buy 20,000 in sheets to qualify for a bag. I mean, the whole thing. But there's a line out the door to actually happen. So marketing is
totally
it's working. So.
It's so great. Well, it is. Thank you for sharing all your little secrets and how to meet celebrities. Did you tell us that? How do we meet?
I did. I said initially I was tapping into our personal networks, reaching out, writing letters, writing emails, and then it shifted as we gained the trust that we would start getting pitches saying that, hey, this project is coming out. What could you do for that? And instead of just writing a story, I said, hey, They have to push us on their socials. They have to give us time at an event so we can do the experiential, make this thing come to life than just a traditional analog media situation where we cover the story, great, and it's goodbye. And that's what the shift in our business model left me with hundreds, if not thousands, of these relationships that we continue to carry on because we get to sit down, break bread with them, get to learn about each other and do that. So
are you looking for hires? I mean, if I didn't work here, I would be like, can I join your team?
We're always looking. And that's what I find. I'm spending too much time and I'm trying to, because I realize like, you don't want to make the mistake and the hire, retweet it. And that's what now tweak it. And I've been spending more time.
In the human resources
yeah.
side. So if someone wants, and they're like, I am talented, I want to come work for you, how do they do that?
Well, first of all, I'm running just ads everywhere, LinkedIn, all that, just searching for numerous positions at all times.
Is there a link though? Like what is the link?
Anyone searches on LinkedIn, Haute Living, we have a series every, all time. And then just either an easy email, CEO@hauteliving.com. If anyone's out there is looking, love to explore us joining forces. And yeah, because
you need an army now. You have an aviation division. You've got this whole other empire you've grown.
Yeah, so it's been a beautiful journey and very thankful.
Oh, that's so. And don't you feel like do you feel like you're in just the kind of beginning? Because I feel
100%.
Me too.
100%.
I just want to put words in your mouth.
And I feel that now, as I've gone closer to the relationships and they've gone closer to our work and things are actually percolating at another sort of level now. So it's been a great feeling that compounding all these sort of small positive actions over the years and each relationship and that building up is now grown to where I was so proud even when I saw you guys walk into the Haute 100 with the mayor, leaving probably one of the biggest days in Miami's aggregation of billionaires, Milken Conference. Jamie Dimon had the ultra high net worth JP Morgan conference. We saw you earlier in that day in that room at the luncheon that we went to for Milken, and then being in that dinner at that night, I was like, wow, what a day to be surrounded by such greatness in, every hour of the day.
I know. I felt the same way that day.
Beating down in Miami.
Right?
And I said the mayor actually left Ken Griffin's Star Island place with the Cardones and David Steinberg, who just built 2 unicorns and came over to the dinner. And I was like, wow, what a magical feeling.
It was.
To do that. And Brito was laughing and people were smiling.
Oh, it was so fun.
And it was a Monday.
It was amazing. I set out that day because it was a whole day event. So I'm in my sneakers and my day clothes. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I ran into you and you're like, are you coming tonight? And I was like, we had that other thing. And then, but we completely pivoted. I was like, no, we got to go.
And came with the mayor. I was like,
I came with the mayor and I'm still in my day clothes, which ended up which I loved, by the way, amazing. No complaining. But I was like, oh, drats. I should have been like, but it's okay. It's okay. It was fantastic. I met so many phenomenal people that night.
It's amazing what's happened to our city as well. It became the greatest city in America, if not the world. So.
All right. On that note, we're going to go do some business.
Let's get down to it.
Let's do it. Okay. Thank you for tuning in to the Elena Cardone Show.
It's about to grace us, whether extraordinary, 10x skill. 10x badass. Yeah, I'm after what I want.